the desire to want to be a part of the league at that particular juncture of the history of MLS was only about wanting to play and wanting to play in front of your friends and to be a part of something that was just getting started. I mean, I think we knew at that time that there was some history involved with what we were doing because it still felt unknown, or will this even last?
In the early days, it was the question of, are we going to open our doors again for next year? And that constant question that was sort of MLS 1.0.
We would have talks, I remember, and those talks started to develop, and I think we got more influential players in those talks, whether it was Alexi Lawless, Tim Howard, Landon Donovan. Chris Klein, I know, was involved in those early discussions and put together this executive board that was, it was really just that board and Bob from my recollection for a long time.
First of all, from the player standpoint, you just want to set a baseline, right? That's the goal, is to set a baseline that you're hopefully never going to go below. That means with salaries, that means with healthcare, that means with the way you travel, that means with meals, hotels. You want to set a baseline that you're hopefully never going to go below. So that was the goal.
My career is the type of player who won, and there are lots of them, it's not me, but players like me that the league depends on, but simultaneously is a player that the league takes advantage of. It was an opportunity for me to speak up and say, look, this is what I'm going through. Because I remember specifically Don Garber saying, well, I think Jeff, things worked out for Jeff. Like, he got a big pay raise. And I got a big pay raise because of, I was injured. I couldn't go to Europe. And the Revs still traded me. And he was talking about me not knowing that I was in the room. And so I had to speak up and say, look, here I am, and this is the story.
The economics are always the main thing. But in 2015, free agency was a huge topic of conversation. We wanted to get some semblance of free agency because up until that point, it didn't exist.
The league said very clearly, we will never, ever, ever have free agency.
Ownership and, I'd said over and over, you're never getting free agency, period. We'll walk away. And we got it. At the earliest point of any professional sports league in America.
It was just a perfect storm. Every single professional sports organization globally had to deal with, okay, how do we reconcile no revenue, lost revenue, television contracts, etc. And we were just doing it in a moment without a CBA because of the timing. And it was really, really tough because of the added pressure of the MLS's back tournament. That sort of, the carrot that the league dangled and says, no, this has nothing to do with the deal, but I clearly had everything, almost everything to do with the deal.
It wasn't about me. It's not about the e-board. It's about the player pool. And the player pool is a challenge because it's 700 different voices, 700 different situations. And ultimately, majority wins. And when you break it down, the majority of players needed to get back to the field because they needed the paycheck. And that doesn't get enough credit, right? I think people think of the NBA because, there are more eyes on the NBA. And that's a testament to the hours, the day-long conversations that people who are part of the e-board, people who are part of the PA, the staff on the PA gave up.
You have to understand the ramifications of not making this thing better, or not caring, or not trying your hardest, or not being responsible. There was a point that we've talked about where this league might have folded. There is a responsibility that at a minimum, you're not making it worse, and you're trying to make it better for everybody now and those who come after you. That's what guys like Kobe and Agus and Eddie Pope and all the guys, Casey Keller, and all those guys before my generation, who I played with a little bit before, they pushed, and then the guys before that, Desmond Armstrongs, and all those guys pushed it forward to get it to where we could actually make money. They made zero money, and now we're pushing it forward so that the game is better and healthier, and there's great fans in the stands, etc.
One thing that I think people don't necessarily understand about players associations is that they are really living, breathing organizations. The Players Association is the players, and with all of the strengths and talents that the player pool has, all of that is Players Association. We're the voice of those players, the players that came before, the players that are going to come next, and the players that are there now. So it's not a case of a corporate organization of some sort that does X and does Y. It's a collection of all of the opinions, all of the talents of a large group of people that gets larger every year. That's what the PA is. It's certainly, it's not me, it's not the staff, it's not this office, it's not the material successes that we've been able to achieve. It's the brotherhood of the players and the solidarity that they have always shown and continue to show. That's what the PA is.